And then Circe. Circe. I know I'm right about Circe. That myth of Circe is annoying to me when I go online and do research about this myth, because most people today, especially the feminists, see men as rapists. Oh, the men are coming in. Rape is a real possibility, so says the professor of the teaching company. When the crew comes to the Circe house, knock, 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 hey, can you help us? We're lost, we need help. Pathetic crew. The professor says, she's a female, she says, oh, well, rape is a real possibility. That's how women, feminists, see men. Pigs, rats, dogs. So what ends up happening is Circe, who's not a witch, she's a noble woman. She plays the piano, she's sewing. This is noble traits in Greek culture, strong female virtues. Circe has. She's not a witch. It's not a gingerbread house. She sings beautifully. And she's sewing like some beautiful, they say it's a garment that's full of colors. Come on, what kind of witch does that? If it's a witch, she'll make black and spiders and stuff, and it'll be nasty. It's not going to be some beautiful garment, with radiating colors. I mean, come on. So Circe is not a witch. She's a typical woman who, when she's in charge, and it's the matriarchy, the men devolve and degrade by nature into animals. Why is this? Because she pushes down male virtues. And we see this everywhere in society today. Men should not be aggressive. Men should not play with guns. Men need to listen to feelings more. Things like this. What are masculine virtues? They're pushed down, aggressively attacked. So when the men lose their masculine virtues, what comes out? Their animal nature. It's no longer countered by our natural virtues. Instead of working on our virtues, our natural animal instincts come out strong. And that's how come men resemble pigs, rats, donkeys, you name it. That's what that story is about. What happens to men when the matriarchy shakes? You can see it in single mothers, unmarried mothers who have boys. God bless the good ones, but without a man's life, man to lead the boys, to take them hiking, to take them camping, to show them what it takes, masculine virtues, well, what is he then? Well, like the animals outside Circe's house. They're like wild animals, strong. Wolves and tigers, they say. But they lick like little pussycats. The strangers, when the crew approaches. They've basically got their balls cut off. And I saw this the other day, Circus Island. I saw it the other day when I went into town in Split, and I saw the U.S. Navy. Okay, the big aircraft carrier was in town. Who knows why? A lot of people speculate the reason. But I was eating dinner with a buddy of mine, and I saw, suddenly, I'm looking around, and there's so many Americans, maybe 100, men and women. And I asked a guy sitting next to me, well, what's going on? We're on a cruise, he said, which is pretty funny. Well, they're on their way to Iran. Big aircraft carrier. But when I remember the Star Club in Hamburg, and when I've heard of old sailing crews from, let's say, 200 years ago or whatever, those men partied when they got off the boat. They went totally crazy. A lot of them get arrested, drinking, drugs, women, sex, you name it. Totally rowdy people, sailors. Well, that's not like that anymore. I thought I was in a American high school cafeteria. Everybody just sitting, 100 people talking, and as the people started getting drunk, men and women, they started to be a little more social. It was like being at a high school party. This is Circus Island. You see, the men, because the women are always around, also in commanding positions, they've had their balls cut off. They're the most placid, easygoing, complacent men I've ever seen since high school. This is Circus Island. This is what happens to men when women start taking over. The men were just eating their food, barely saying a word to each other, didn't even have the confidence to look each other in the eye, what I saw. Until the alcohol started taking effect, then there was a lot more interaction between the crew. That's Circus Island. And that's what that myth means. It's what happens to your country when women take over. And we see it everywhere today. Everywhere. I don't have to explain it. Just look around in America. They're saying the men they don't have masculine virtues. Their weaknesses, their animal nature comes out too strong because they're not developing their spirit. And that's why this Navy crew seemed to me like high school. They weren't mature men. It was childish. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was in high school again. I really did. So these men, their spiritual nature has been truncated, stunted. They're not developing themselves as men. They're good boys, though, and they do what they're told. And they don't go to the strip clubs, and they don't get drunk, because they don't want to cause any trouble and get in trouble with their commanding officer. That's Circus Island.